Okay. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, wherever you guys are watching us from throughout the world. Sir, can you please mute yourself? Yeah, thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Welcome again. My name is 𝐒𝐭 𝐒𝐿. I'm your host and moderator for today's session. I believe a lot of you guys are joining us with us today, who are maybe at the beginning of this of their career journey in terms of learning Python. This is something that we are doing something new, something different for you guys as well. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are fired up. A lot of you guys have asked us in the past to do sessions like these as well, to get something for you guys in terms of a programming language, something that is very prevalent in the AI, ML, data engineering domain as a whole. So you are, you demanded, we provided in one sort or another. So we are here with a new session, with a new course, with a lot of new things, to be precise. Today we are talking about how to get started with Python for beginners. A lot of you guys are maybe starting out their careers as a data engineer and or a data scientist as well, and they're seeing the importance or the demand of Python as a whole in that particular career domain, and you're wondering how I can get started, what are the basics, what are the things I need to know as a beginner. And all of those things, or at least a brief portion of those things, will be covered in today's session. We've got an experienced Python trainer with multiple years of experience in the industry, not only working as a developer, as a Python programmer, but also as a trainer as well. And you'll soon find out why I'm speaking a lot. I'll talk about his professional credentials as well in a bit. I'll give you a brief introduction to him, as well as what we'll be covering in this session. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are fired up, because we are live at all our different platforms. So please do come, and you know the ritual, you know the drill. Please do mention where are you from in the chat, in the comment section of wherever you guys are watching it, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn. Okay, so what you'll be learning today, we've got number one, we'll start with what is Python, very basic question. Then why is Python so popular? Why is the demand uh, so high in the industry for Python developer or people who know how to work in Python? Then what are the different features of Python, objects and loop statements in Python, along with career opportunities for data scientists, data engineers, and AI, ML, that's artificial intelligence and machine learning. Then we'll be talking about a learning path, or what is the right path or right approach to learning the Python language. And then there's going to be a Q&A session for all the doubts that you guys have, so that whatever doubts you guys have, we can cover them as well. Then this is just a feedback that we always ask you guys as well. Out of 5, by the end of the session, make sure you put it in the comment section, as in terms of how you're enjoying the session so far. Then this is just Google reviews that we've got 4.5 out of 5, 300 plus. I mean, this number is now 500 plus reviews. But again, if you like the session and you feel like giving us a review, please do make sure go at Google and give us a review. But again, there is another thing that I want to know you guys better, as in terms of whether you're a beginner, whether you're an intermediate, or whether you're an expert. S Pillai, hello, buddy. Welcome to the session. Please do put it in the comment section of wherever you guys are watching it, whether you're a beginner, whether you're an intermediate, or whether you're an expert at Python as a whole. So, without any further ado, let me welcome and also introduce the guest of the evening, the trainer of the evening. We won't be talking about names at the very moment, but I'll give you a brief introduction. He's got multiple years or extensive years of experience in data engineering. Then he's also worked for top data related companies. Again, his CV is, I mean, there is so much stuff to put in one slide. It was a slide difficult, but I've just put out, the major highlights. There are a lot of still highlights that I wasn't able to put in. But yeah, this is what we'll be working. He's a Databricks and big data certified professional. He has been training individuals like yourself for the past 4 years, and he's worked in different industries like banking, telecom, retail, and many more. Okay, this is one thing that I want to mention. We mention it in almost all of the sessions that we do. Please make this workshop interactive. That means if you have any questions, put it down below. If we are asking you any questions in terms of maybe a quiz, maybe a small questionnaire, please put them down as well. And at the end, we are going to have a Q&A session, a question and answer session. We've got a few questions on the comment section as well, in the when we posted it, and there are a few questions here as well. So you guys can definitely put them down below so that we can pick them up, and our trainer uh, can also pick those questions up and get those doubts answered for you guys. Okay, I'll give it the access over to Sir now. Sir, could you please share your screen?
Sure, Shiva. Thanks.
We've got a lot of people. We've got Patrick from Dallas, Texas. Welcome, Patrick. Abhilash, Lokesh. Welcome, Lokesh. I see a lot of you guys are you're coming over from, I guess, across the world now. We've got people from US. We've got people from Canada as well. So your screen. Okay, we've got your screen as well. Over to you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thanks, everyone. Hello, everyone. This is Joy over here. So first, we will be understanding why is Python required. Okay. Why we should know why Python is required and what is Python. Python is the most demanding natural language now. Now, why I am saying natural language, because compared to Java or C++ or C language, Python is much easier to learn and is more powerful than all of these languages combined. Now, when I say natural language, I mean that Python is written in the way how English language is presented. Okay, so you don't have to worry about the syntax part, just that you have to be very clear logically. Okay, so as I have written down over here, it was created by Goody van Rossum in 1989. So it's a very high level interpreted language with very easy syntax, that means natural language, and dynamic semantics. Then that means dynamic semantics means that dynamic typing is presented in Python. So when we talk about dynamic typing, basically it means that we don't have to give any data type in Python like we give in C, C++, or let's say SQL. The data type is automatically interpreted by the Python node or whatever the Python engine is running in our system. So the advantage of this data type is dynamic semantics is that we don't have to waste our time, or we don't have to spend time writing scripts and initializing the data types. Okay. Next thing is Python is free for everyone. You can just download and start coding from the first day itself. You don't have to pay anything for it. Okay. And there are multiple IDEs present in the internet today where you can run the codes just in time. There are cloud environments also present today. Okay. And Python is very similar to like Perl, TCL, or Ruby. Okay. We'll go on to the next slide. So next slide, as I said, why should you learn Python? This is also a big question. Now, coming from various backgrounds, you might be having the question that how will it help you? Okay. Now the thing is, Python is so vast and it clears so many things that while learning Python, after learning Python, you can do multiple things. You can work as a back-end engineer, you can work as a front-end engineer, you can work as a data scientist, you can work as a data engineer, you can work as a web developer, you can work as a machine learning engineer, then you can work as a senior QA tester. So you can see I am taking the names of all the top job levels which are most in demand, in boom in the present market strategy. Okay. So when you learn Python, you get access to all these job roles. So Python is for everyone. There is no roadblock that who cannot learn Python. Python is for everyone. Everyone can learn Python. There is something for everyone in Python. Okay. So as you can see in the graph here, Python is the most demanding, most wanted in the top programming languages. Okay. So if we go by the growth, and if we go see the growth for the next at least 5 or 10 years, Python is going to be the top demand programming language. Okay, we will move on to the next thing. So why is Python so popular? Like what's the reason of this popularity in Python? First thing, it's very easy and simple to learn. It's open source. It's very easy to code in Python. It's very efficient. The codes run in just no time. It's very efficient and fast enough. Next thing is it is fast. It has vast community. When I say vast community, that means there are a lot of Python developers in the market and in the entire world. So whatever problems you are stuck in Python, or whatever issues you are having, whatever doubts you are having, you can just there is a website, Stack Overflow. There are multiple communities where you can discuss your problems in Python with them. Next thing is portable and extensible. That means Python can be run from any system. You don't need very high paid hardware or software for learning Python. It's open source and it can be learned with anything. Okay. Next thing is diverse libraries. That means there are so many libraries in Python to do specific tasks. Like someone who is into maths or into statistics, there is specific libraries for them. Someone who is into visualization, they want to build bars, charts, graphs, there are specific libraries for them. Someone who is into data science, there are specific libraries for them. So in this way, someone who is into front end development, they want to build a web page, there are specific libraries for them. So in this way, Python has different libraries for everyone's use case. Okay, it is very flexible. That means you can learn it anywhere, you can run it anywhere. Okay, versatile, that means it can be learned in any way possible. Okay, and last thing is documentation. Its documentation is very well built up, and whatever doubts you have in Python when we'll be learning it live, you can just clear out those doubts in documentation and also from me. Okay, over to you.
Thank you very much, sir. Uh, Okay, guys. So this is something that we wanted. I believe some of you guys would already have an idea as to whether you are interested in Python or not. I see a lot of you guys are interested. Somebody is already at a beginner level. Somebody is just starting out and they want to learn or at least get to know Python a little better. So this is something that you guys should join. So just go at k21academy.com/python waitlist. Go and just register yourself in this waitlist, because there's going to be a lot of different things that you're going to get once you're a part of this waitlist. We are going to be having more free sessions like these, but just for the people who are registered on this particular link. We're going to have that. We're going to have sample Q&As. We're going to have sample programs. Who knows, we might even share the presentation for this particular session with you guys as well if you are registered on there. So make sure you go right now at k21academy.com/pythons waitlist. There's going to be a lot of different things as well that we'll be giving away, or you'll be getting if you are a part of this waitlist in the future. But yeah, I'll be covering that in the future, in maybe the upcoming duration of the session, maybe in the middle, maybe in the end. So make sure you're here and you're asking away all the doubts that you guys have, so that we can pick them up as we go. Thank you very much, sir. Over to you.
Sure.
You have to share your screen.
Yeah, 1 second.
In the meantime, while you're sharing the screen, sir, we got a question from one of our viewers. What is the basic knowledge required to learn Python?
Yeah, so I'll just answer it. So for learning Python, you don't require any basic knowledge. You can just come with any knowledge, no knowledge required in IT or coding, nothing is required. You can, if you are from a business background, if you are from a medical background, anyone can learn Python. Python is such versatile and such open language. So you don't have to be worried about that I should know coding before, or I should be from an IT background, or I should be from a technical background. There is no prerequisites for learning Python. You can just come and learn it and enjoy it while you learn it. Does that answer your question?
I hope it does. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Okay, let's see some features of Python, very interesting features. So as I had explained also in the previous slide, one very easy syntax is features is the simple syntax. It has very clear syntax. Like when you see a Python code, when you start coding from day 1 or day 2 itself, you'll be understanding what Python is doing exactly. Okay. Next is it's easy to learn since it's simple syntax. Third, it's free and open source. You don't need any money for it to download the software. Fourth, it's high level language. You can solve many things with it. Fifth is it's portable. Sixth is it is interpreted. So that means oops concept will be there. Seventh is the memory allocation. The way Python allocates the memory for different use cases, different memory efficiency. It's very efficient. Okay. Next is it's object oriented. That means objects classes will be used in Python. Last is it uses classes. So when we use classes, our programming gets easier. So because we can put many things inside a class and run the class instead of writing the entire code. Next is it's extensible. We can extend the code. Last is it's embedded. Okay. So these are the popular Python IDEs. First is PyCharm. This is very popular. Next is Visual Studio Code. Third is Sublime Text. This is also very popular. So you can see over here there is Spider. Spider is used for data science. Jupyter Notebook, this is my favorite, own favorite. Eclipse is also a good one. Notepad++ is always there where you can edit your code and run it. Okay, so all of these are free. You don't need to pay anything for it. Okay, so let's do a little bit of objects and loop statements. So let's understand what is it going through. So first is Python objects. So first is in Python, objects consist of lists, tuples, sets, and dictionaries. So let's understand each of them in overview details. Okay. So what is a list first? So list is basically an ordered collection of items. Okay. So what list does is basically that it the most general way of sequencing in Python is list. Okay, so Python creates list or understands lists in the form of a sequence. Like let's say we have this list over here 0 1 2 3 4 5. Then basically 0 is zeroth index is 0, first index is first, second index is second 2, and so on and so forth. And the third point which is written over here, that is lists are mutable. Okay, that means we can change the values of the list. Suppose we want to insert, instead of 2 we want to insert 7 over here, then we can do it. So Python gives us this flexibility to change the values of the list. Okay, next we'll go to tuples. So tuples are basically, it looks exactly like lists, but there are subtle differences. First is tuple is a built-in data structure in Python that is an ordered collection of objects. Okay, so one thing you should notice here, in lists there are, in physical difference, if you see, in lists we use square brackets. Okay, and in tuples we use round brackets, or as we say in English language, parentheses. Okay, so the main thing of tuples is tuples are immutable. That means once they are created, they cannot be modified, added, or deleted. Okay, and now you might be asking, then why we should be using it, right, if they're immutable? Now suppose you're writing a code and you don't want the values to be changed. Like let's say the date the bill was created for a employee table, or for employee data set, or the date the sale was generated. Okay, so you don't want those dates to be changed, or the credit card number of a customer. Okay, so in that case you will store those values in the tuple so that the values cannot be changed later on by any of the developers. Next we go to sets. So sets is a unique collection of unique elements. So whenever we are writing a set, it won't take in any duplicate values. Okay, like let's see, if we have, let's say in this data engineer, we have Python, Java, Scala, Git, SQL, Hadoop. Okay, so if we run set on this, what will happen is it will give us all the unique values. Okay, so we can go to the next one, dictionary. So dictionary uses the concept of key value pair. Now what's the use of key value pair over here is basically the values in dictionary are stored in the form of keys and values. That is the mapping logic in Python. Now what is the unique thing of USP of dictionary is that when we store values in a dictionary, what happens is basically that whenever we are looking up the data, or when we are looking up some values, it is very easier to store in dictionary and look up the values, because we just have to enter the key and it will give us the corresponding value. Like let's say here we have the key of hobbies and its values are painting, singing, cooking. So if I call the key hobbies, it will output me this painting, singing, cooking. So it is very useful way of looking up any data. Okay, next we'll go to looping. So a loop statement is basically a series of steps where we want to do a thing multiple times, like a machine or robot or autonomous object. But instead of writing the code again and again, we will instruct Python to run that code again and again. So in this session, we will learn about while loops and for loops. Okay, so first while loop. So while loop statement in Python repeatedly executes the statement, whatever statement we have given, as long the given condition is true. So suppose I give that while number is greater than 2, print hello world or print hello there. So till the number will be greater than 2 or less than 2, whatever the condition I am giving, it will keep on printing it. Okay, and it will only break out from the loop when the loop reaches the false condition. So this is while loop. Next is for loop. So for loop basically iterates over any items in a sequence such as list or a string. Like let's say we have a list and we want to check all the numbers in the list which are even numbers. So we can run the for loop because it in the for loop it will check for all the numbers in the list which are even numbers and print me accordingly. Okay. Next. Okay. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Are we done with everything? List.
We are done till for loop.
Hello, your voice is not audible, sir.
Yeah, we are done till for loop.
Hello,
Hello, am I audible?
am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
Hello, so
Yeah,
yeah,
am I audible now?
yeah. Now you are. Where
Okay.
are we right now?
So we are in for loop.
Okay,
So
okay.
yes, career opportunities and jobs you can explain.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, guys, a lot of you guys have been asking in the comment section of our post where we have posted about this live as to what are the career opportunities that you guys would have if you actually got into it. So this is just, I would say, just the tip of the iceberg. Just how sir mentioned in the initial part that there are you guys can get into almost any stream with Python, or if you are into any stream and you learn Python, it's gonna bring you something one way or another. So for web development and frameworks, there's Django. Then there's something for there's SE for testing as well. Then there is Pygame for game development, big data. We have Hadoop, AI, data science. There is a lot of other ways as well. Then there are smart devices as well. So there's a plethora of career opportunities in the bank for you guys when it comes down to what you can do if you have learned Python. There, when you look at the job market out there for Python, these are just a few screenshots from all the different geographical locations, if you want to call that. These are the top three countries that usually when we look at we get our learners from. So we searched over as in terms of what is currently the job scenario for data science jobs. That is one of the domains in which Python language as a whole is very dominantly needed as a whole. So in that we had 100 plus jobs for India. Then there's even for junior data scientists there are 100 plus jobs. We're going to be talking about the average salary for these jobs as well just in a bit. Then there are multiple jobs in UK and US as well. For same with data engineering jobs as well. I mean, you guys can have a look at yourself. There's Google, Accenture, Micron, Walmart. There are big companies and there are small companies like CECG as well, EPAM Systems, and then there's big companies like Yelp along there as well. So multiple job opportunities that are there. There's a plethora of job opportunities given that you have got the skills, that you've got the practical knowledge that is needed there or not. Along with that, just like I mentioned, there's 170,000 plus data engineering jobs in US. Then there's 14,000 plus data engineering jobs in UK, and there's around 13,154 jobs that are listed on Naukri.com, which is an Indian job portal as a whole. So let's talk about average salaries, because at the end, money is one of the motivating factors. Or at the end, it comes a lot down to what is the money that we are getting it. So the average salary of data scientist in US is around $100,560. That's an average salary. There are going to be people who are earning way above than that. Then are people who are going to be earning a little less than that as well. Then the average salary of data engineers in US, it's around 12,100,300. It's it's around that number around here as well. That's the average salary according to Indeed, which is again a very trusted job portal as a whole. So again, guys, when we are talking about salary as a whole, wherever you guys are located in the world, it is bound that you are in the job roles of maybe data scientist, data engineering. The salary market is great. The numbers are great. But given that you know what you're doing, you have the desired skills, you are progressing in your career in terms of accumulating new skills on that part. Then the average salary of data scientists in UK is around 52,000 pounds, 70 to 52,072 pounds around in that per year in London. Then in data engineer, it's around a little less than that, which is 51,714 pounds. Okay, now we talked about the salaries, we talked about the money aspect, but there is a huge asterisk when we talk about those salaries. It's not about whether the number is less or number is more. It's more about how you can achieve that number, how you can get to that salary. That is where it comes down to the importance. That is why the importance of having a proper guided learning path is so important as a whole, where you don't want to waste time, you don't want to waste your resources, you don't want to waste your money as well as a whole, because at the end, time is money, and that's very true as a whole. So you want to have a very structurally made learning program or a learning path that you can follow to actually get all the skills that are needed to get to these jobs. So this is what K21 have created for you. And this particular learning path, it's an 8-week learning path in which we have tried to cover all, try to cover most, if not all, of your of your Python learning requirements. We start with week number 1, in which we are covering 2 different modules. That is module number 1, which is Introduction to Python, will give you a brief overview of Python, what are the applications, why, how you can actually use Python for data scientists and data engineers as well. Then we move on to objects and data science basics. So all of this, when we are teaching you Python, we are teaching you Python from a perspective how you can implement into data science, data engineering, AI, or ML. The 4 highest paying jobs, the 4 of the major job roles you get when you are learning Python, we're teaching you from a perspective of that. So a lot of you guys that you're going to be seeing, it's going to be extremely easy for you to implement all of those things if you are actually learning in that part. So over there, we start, just like I mentioned, we start from Introduction to Python, then we move on to Objects and Data Science Basics, in which we cover different data types and a lot more, like just like how we covered right now. That's just, in this particular session, we've given you a very brief overview. Like it's like an overview of very basics. We've just given you different definitions and how things work. But over there, we're going to be showing you different programs, how you can put it, how you can use it in actual programs that you're making for different stuff that you wanted to be done. Then for week number 2, we are covering 2 different modules. That is module number 3 and module number 4, in which we cover a few different things. Like for module 3, we are covering up Python statements, that is loops, which is again very important. If you have learned any programming language in the past, you know how much importance is of loops. There is if loop, for loop, while loop, just like how sir mentioned. Again, all of the things that we are teaching you, we are giving you an opportunity. We are teaching you it in a very practical scenario where we're showing you different programs, how you can implement all of these things in an actual program as well. Then for module number 4, we are covering methods and functions, in which we are covering basic method structure in Python, user-defined and inbuilt methods. Then again, methods and functions are again 2 very different things. I have learned Python back in the day as well, so I know a few things about here as well, and I know how important it is to learn all of these things with a program. I made that mistake back in the day, where I was just cramming up theoretical concepts, and which is again a very terrible way to learn anything, especially a programming language. So I know the importance and why there's been a lot of thought put into it. There's a lot of effort put into it as well, as to training you all of these things in a more practical set. Then in module 5, object-oriented programming, or OOPS, which is again something that is being adopted from C++. If you have learned C++, put it in the comment section. Yes, you have learned it, and what's your current level as well. Then there's a lot of things that we're covering in that. We're covering OOPS, definition of a class. Again, when I look at it, this particular learning path, what I see is, just like sir mentioned, even if you are a beginner, if you're a complete beginner who doesn't know anything, anything about even programming in general, not let alone Python, you are going to learn all of those things, because we're very genuinely starting you from scratch. We're learning, or we're teaching you from the very scratch, because OOPS is again very basics as a whole. And then we slowly increase the level where we talk about parents versus child class, extend the functionality of a parent class. Then module 6 is errors and exception handling. This is again a very realistic scenarios where this is being used, just like exceptions in terms of maybe a password or something like that. And similar on way of that, then we talk about Python decorators and generators. This is where you increase the level on, we're taking a major step up in terms of that. We talk about simple decorators, reusing, decorating classes, nesting, both please, but never mind the bread. And there's a lot of other different things that we are covering in week 5. And then in 6th week, we are covering module number 8 and 9, in which we are covering up NumPy and Pandas, which is again a very mathematical library, if I want to call that, for data scientists. Again, if you are a data scientist or if you're an aspiring data scientist, you already know what I'm talking about. These are very important. Then what is NumPy? We again start from the very basic, and we increase our levels like that. Then there's matplotlib and plotly, which is very important for data visualization. A lot of you guys would use this if you're planning to work in the data science domain, because data visualization again is a very important part of data science as a whole. This is the module in which you learn how to make different graphs. You learn how to use different data sets to represent them in a way to create results or to predict a lot of different things in the future, in terms of maybe it's the sales of a particular product, or there's a lot of things that you can do using these graphs as a whole. I'm sorry. Then in module 10, you cover introduction to Apache Spark, PySpark as a whole, and in that you learn Spark architecture, Spark data frame, Spark SQL context, and similar way. In week 8 is something which I think is a very standout feature of this learning path, that is CV and interview prep. If you already are somebody who's following K21 for a bit, you know how amazing this particular functionality is whenever we are offering any learning path or whenever we are offering you any course. Sorry. In that, we think after once you're done with these 7 weeks, we think that you have learned a few skills. You are ready to step into maybe your first job, and that's where we help you to get that thing ready with your CV and interview prep. We help you make your CVs according to the jobs that you are applying for. And there is one mistake that I personally did in my initial career as well, where I applied with the same CV for a multiple range of jobs that obviously resulted at me not getting any of them. And so for every job that you are applying for, you have to look at the GD, that job description, and then create your CV according to that. And that's where my team comes in. That's where K21 comes in. K21 Academy comes in, and they help you to create those CVs. And then they also prepare you for the interviews that are there if your CV gets selected or shortlisted. That's the 8th week, and that's the last week. So all of these things will be helped in that area. And yeah, I've seen multiple, like I think we'll be sharing a few success stories at the end as well, where I've personally talked to a few people, and they've told me how important this particular step is in their training or in their whole learning journey. Okay, so Python for data science. And so this is the program that we have for you guys. It's a 10 module program, just like I mentioned. There are 50 plus lessons. There's a hands-on labs as well. The next thing, that is what I'm covering, because again, like I mentioned, when you're learning a programming language, one of the most important things that you have to keep in mind is that you are practicing, you are implementing things practically. That is where you actually learn a lot of things. Again, guys, I hope you guys are able to learn everything or understand everything. If you guys have any questions, put them down below. Yeah, I guess we're not getting any questions as of now, but yeah, you guys can put up any questions that you guys have, and we'll be picking them up as well as we go. So yeah, that's what I was saying, that anything that you guys are learning, you need to implement those things practically yourself, and that is something that you have to do. There's no way around it. If you're learning a programming language for the first time, these are the things that you have to do. Then there's CV prep as well, and then there's on-job support along with that as well. So CV prep I already told you about. On-job support is again one of the flagship programs of K21 Academy. So let's suppose you got the job, or you actually got the job. You are in the job and you're facing a lot of difficulties because it's your first job. You're a fresher in this particular industry. You're facing a lot of difficulties. That's where on-job support works. For 1 year, K21 Academy is there to help you with all your doubts at your work. Whatever question you have, you put it in our community section. The moment you get enrolled in a group, you'll get also be a part of a WhatsApp group. So whatever question you have, put it in the WhatsApp group, and in the 24 to 48 hours, somebody from my team, or maybe the trainer, or maybe somebody from K21 Academy will answer that question. And if it's maybe it's a more complex problem, then you can generate a ticket. Now, what is a ticketing system? Is whenever there is something which is a little longer, a little bigger problem, a little more complex problem, it's obviously going to take a little bit more time. So at that time, you can just put up or get a ticket. That means that eventually, if after 48 hours or maybe a few days, again, if your doubt is not answered, you guys can come to us and show that this is my ticket, why is my doubt not answered? So you can hold us accountable for whatever doubts you guys have in that 1 year of once your entire course is done and once you've started your job. So that is very beneficial. A lot of you guys, I'm part of a lot of groups, maybe that's OpenShift, there's Microsoft Azure, AWS, Google Cloud. A lot of you guys still ask those questions and get those questions answered. So it's a one of the flagship things that we do at K21 Academy, which I think is incredible because it helps you for that 1 year of your entire fresher journey, where when you are a fresher in the industry, that helps you get over whatever doubts you guys have. So now let's talk about the hands-on labs that you get in this course as a whole. So over here, you get a lot of different things, like you start with setting up a LAN environment for Python. Then you work with, like just I mentioned, that whatever you're learning, you're also implementing that right away. So we're working with sets, tuples, dictionaries. Then there are loop statements. There is if, while, for. Then there are statements assignment test as well. There's guessing game challenge project. Then there's a lot of projects as well. I forgot to mention that as well. I'm sorry. That whatever you're learning, you're going to be making a full-fledged project. Now, how is that different from just implementing something? So implementing something, you are making a for loop, let's suppose, to create a Fibonacci series or just to print even numbers, let's suppose. But when you are creating a proper project, that means you are creating something in which there are a lot of different things. You're using tuples, for loop, while loop, if else, a lot of different things you're accumulating into one particular project, and then you're running that program as a whole. So over there, you get to learn a lot of different things in terms of how you are putting all of these things in one, and how these things, interrelate with each other, work with each other in that area. Then there is also implementing methods and functions, understanding inheritance concepts. So over there, there's parent-child, there's this something that you call inheritance, and over there, it's again a very important topic in Python as a whole that you're going to be learning. It's a part of OOPS, if I'm not wrong, and there's a lot of things that you're going to be learning in this that's eventually going to help you in the real life projects that you're making for whatever company that you're eventually working on. Then there's the OOPS challenge, exceptional handling, just like I mentioned before. Then there's a create decorators in Python, understand generators, yield statements, create work with NumPy and arrays, Python, data frames, working with Plotly. Again, if you're a data scientist, you already know. Even if you're somebody who's trying to get into data science, I hope that you guys are ready for this because it's going to be incredible for you guys. Okay, what are the basics of learning Python? Seth, there are no particular basics as a whole, to be honest. You guys can start from the very scratch, like we had mentioned in the initial part as well. It is very easy. And again, if you look into this particular slide, you're going to see that we're starting with introduction to Python. We're ending at introduction to Apache PySpark, which is something, very advanced level. And at least it's a beginning, or it's your entry to the advanced level tools as a whole. You learn everything from the scratch in these 7 weeks. And even if you are somebody who's starting from the very bottom level where you do not know anything about Python, then also no problem, you guys will learn that. Then there are a lot of other things. There's viewing stages and jobs in Spark application UI, the Spark SQL basics, and last but not the least is the Capstone project. Just like I had mentioned before, in Capstone project, you create something from the very scratch. It's a proper, functioning program where, let's suppose you made LMS, that's library management system, or there's something that you made a program in which you can predict how the weather is going to change or something like that. In Python, you guys can create those as well. And again, these are very important as a whole to teach you to evaluate yourself as a programmer, as a Python programmer, as to what things you've learned in this particular entire journey. Then a lot of you guys are commenting interested. Again, my team will eventually reach out to you guys, so there's no problem in that. But again, you have to join the waitlist. This is what the waitlist is going to look like: k21academy.com/Python dash waitlist. If you guys have any doubts, put it in the comment section. A lot of you guys are, I think, facing slight trouble with the link, so you guys can go ahead at this link as well, and you guys can. Okay, sorry. Give me a second. So you guys can just go on the link that I've pasted on the screen, and you guys can directly go there and register over there. If this is not working, otherwise I'm pretty sure this should be work as well. But again, go at k21academy.com/Python dash waitlist. Now, there's a lot of things that you're going to be learning in that, but the reason why you should be joining waitlist Python is because there's a lot of other things that will be bringing you in the future. Like, there are going to be more free live sessions for Python. There are going to be blogs written on Python Pro. They're going to get example programs, sample Q&As for interview, and a lot more in that area. So if you are a part of this waitlist, that means then only you get those things. Otherwise, we won't be putting them out like this one. This is the first time we're doing it, so we decided to do it on our social media handles. Otherwise, we would have not done it. So please do make sure you go at k21academy.com/Python dash waitlist, or if that's not working, then it's in the chat window, and it's in the comment section as well. You guys can go visit the link that is there. So no problem in that. Again, if you guys have any questions, we are at the Q&A section. If there are any questions, put them down in the comment section, and we'll be more than happy to pick them up as we go. We've got an very experienced trainer here as well. And if you guys have any questions, please put them down below. We'll be more than happy to pick them up. And for all the people who have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what are you doing at the very moment? You should go right now and subscribe to K21 Academy on YouTube, because again, this is one of the sessions if you might have not registered for it, if you don't know yet, but if you are a subscribed member of the K21 family, you will get the notification for that. So make sure you go ahead and do that at the very moment, so that we can have a better idea as to that as well. But while you guys are watching it, I really hope you guys are enjoying this session. So why don't you do one thing? Why don't you rate us out of 5, like I had mentioned in the initial part of the session as well. Rate us out of 5 as in terms of how you'd like the session, 5 being the highest. And if it's anything less than 4, please do mention the reason as well, so that we can also, pick up those questions, that we can improve those things that we have done wrong. Otherwise, if it's 5, then thank you very much. We really appreciate the kind words, the kind appreciation in terms of our rating, because it really helps us motivate to do more of these sessions as well. There's a lot of work done in the background to create these sessions for you, and we are really happy that you like them and you put it in the comment section. But again, if you guys have any questions, please pick them up, put it in the chat window. I'll be more than happy to pick them up as we go. Okay, if you guys, while you guys are typing it out in the comment section, there are a few questions that we got on our social media handle as well, and let me pick those up. Sir, are you here? Could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, yeah, sure. Yeah, tell me.
So, like a lot of these people ask me about the prerequisites and all, but you yourself have created this entire learning program path that I've just shared with everybody. So, do you think this learning path that is being created by K21 is it enough for any individual who is just starting out, who do not know anything, to start their career
Yes,
journey in Python?
yes. So, whatever paths they are coming from, be it beginner or be it intermediate, the Python course is designed in such a way so that it gives a comprehensive learning for all of them. So don't need to worry about whichever paths they're coming from or whichever portions they have learned in Python till date, because we are going to give them a full-fledged training in Python.
Okay. And apart from that, a lot of people are, although we have mentioned the job scenarios that there's a huge demand of Python developers in the market as well. So, what, according to you, are the necessary skills for anybody to start out their career as a Python developer, or somebody who
So
is just starting out their career in data science as well?
yes. That's a very good question. So, being a Python developer, so Python is required for like most of the recruiters nowadays see Python, whether it's added in the resume skill sets or not, and they filter the resumes in that way. So, being a Python developer, knowing the basics and knowing little bit of intermediate helps a lot during interviews and also during work. So, a candidate who knows Python is preferred over someone who does not know Python but still knows all the other skills. So Python is that much important that if you know little bit of intermediate level Python also, you get more priority over other candidates.
And is this job trend only specific to one domain, or
No, it's
there
for
are
all
different?
the job trains which we showed in the slides.
Okay, okay. Apart from that, what would be your, how much time do you think in terms of practice? Like we talked about a lot of, topics over here, whether it's tuples, loops, or whatever. So, what amount of time of is needed in terms of practice to get yourself acquainted with all of these things, according to you?
So if we practice, let's say 1 hour daily, then we will be done with the Python course. Like from practice point of view, because you have to put in your own efforts. Then in 1 or 1.5 months, we'll be done with like we'll be an expert in Python.
Okay. So, like, how much time is in terms of like maybe 1 month or something like that?
So it will be like close around, if we say approximately 1.5 to 2 months, if we take all the efforts, projects, everything into consideration.
And what's like so? According to you, what we mentioned about projects as well. We mentioned about capstone project as well.
Correct.
Is
Yes.
that a part of the practice, or is it different? And how is that very important or beneficial for somebody who's
So
just starting
yes,
out there?
so when I'll be done teaching a specific part of the program or module. I'll be giving a project, and the trainers will be giving this project because the candidates have to do this project and they have to submit it. And I'll be checking them, and I'll be discussing with about the project in the live class. So the projects will be of various domains like credit card fraud detection, employee salary understanding, then let's say weather detection, airplanes, airports, sales detection. So I'll be giving projects in various domains. Now, how it helps the candidates is basically those are all the live projects which I get from various domains, working as a trainer or working as a data engineer in a product company. So when they work on such live projects, it gives a very good exposure when they're going for interviews and they can explain those projects from the interview standpoint, from the interviewer point of view.
Okay, okay. So you initially mentioned when we just started out that Python is something that would be beneficial to you irrespective of which domain you are, working, whether it's data science,
Yes,
data engineer,
correct,
or
correct.
anything other. So which domain do you think needs Python the most, according to you?
So according to me, the domain which needs Python the most is data science and data engineering.
Okay, and why is that, according to you?
So because in data science and data engineering, it's 95% dependent on Python, because there all the codes, all the codecs, all the automation things, everything is written in Python only. And why it's written in Python? Because first of all, Python is very efficient. Second, Python is very powerful. Third, Python is built up in such a way, and there are specific libraries, multiple libraries in Python, which helps the data science and data engineers more in their work day-to-day jobs.
Okay. And what would be, so there are a lot of different IDs that are used for Python as well, for any programming language when you look at it. So which ID would you prefer if
So,
somebody is just starting out?
as a beginner, I have been training from a lot of days, a lot of candidates I have trained. But as a beginner, the best ID to learn Python is Jupyter Notebook hands on any day. The way Jupyter
Okay.
Notebook is designed, it's the best for any beginners or anyone to learn Python.
And while we're talking about beginners as well, you mentioned that there are a lot of communities as well. Could you elaborate a little more on that part? What are these
Yes, sure,
communities?
sure.
How can
Like there
somebody
are
join it?
communities like, so you don't need anything to join. There are communities like Stack Overflow. There are communities like Kaggle, where you can get multiple projects and you can practice yourself in Python. And Stack Overflow is very interesting because you will get almost all your doubts solved in Stack Overflow. There are some specific doubts you get stuck in Python because while coding or while learning Python, you might get stuck in multiple things. And you can clear those things in Stack Overflow, and then you can join Kaggle as a Kaggle expert or as a Kaggle developer, and then you can download projects from there and do your own projects.
Okay, guys, a few of you guys are still commenting as to interested. I'll just put this up. This is the waitlist. Go ahead, go and join the waitlist. If you guys are interested, do comment interested as well. But this is the waitlist that you should be joining if you are actually interested in Python. Okay, so what are the specific libraries? I want to elaborate on,
Sure,
the
sure,
Python
sure.
being
So
very,
some
yeah.
very widely used libraries are Pandas being one. That is the most powerful library which are used by all over the world by most of the data scientists and data engineers. Next is NumPy. Third is there is one more known as random library. Fourth is Plotly library, which is used for visualization. Fifth is Matplotlib library, which is also a very powerful visualization. So these are the most widely used Python libraries in today's world. Plus, there are multiple thousands of libraries available, but everything is used based on use case. But these are the five libraries, and why I'm talking about these five libraries, because using these five libraries, almost 95% of the Python scripting and coding is completed using these five libraries. Rest, there are specific libraries for specific use cases in Python that the candidates might use it, or whoever is learning Python or developing codes in Python based on their use case.
Okay, okay. Apart from that, is there a tip or maybe some cheat code or something like that as to that you would like to give maybe an advice as well for all the people who are just starting out their career in terms of Python or
Yes,
just learn
so I
learning
would
to
just
learn
want to
Python.
give one very good tip which I give to all my candidates, and they have been successful till date. So when you're learning Python, you should learn Python because it's a new programming language, new thing you're learning with an open mind. You should not be thinking like, what if I don't get a job? What if my Python learning is not successful? What if I am wasting my time and I'm wasting my money? So don't think those things. When you practice hard with diligence and discipline, Python is such a language, it's going to give benefits for you.
Okay, thank you. I mean that I'm literally a little stunned about that particular advice, guys. This is like as real as it would get for you guys. So make sure you take everything, the different learnings that you guys are getting in this particular session, and try to implement them. Okay, can people working in data analysis field go into this training, according to you?
Yes, obviously, why not? Because they will be requiring Python for multiple of their things.
So how is Python? Why, according to you, Python is very versatile as a whole? Like you mentioned, almost
So
any
versatility in Python
build can
comes
work
from
in it.
multiple ways, basically. So in Python, there are a lot of things which is being done manually in our world, or when developers are doing, which can be done in an automatic way in Python. If we run a simple Python script, every time it will go and do the same thing again and again. Like let's say we have to open a web page and click a specific link of the web page, or we have to open a data set CSV file and check a specific column of the CSV file. Instead of doing it manually, you can just write a Python script and it will do the same job again and again for you, thereby saving time and making it more efficient process for you. So Python is
Okay.
not something which you learn just for getting a job. It's also something which you learn as a day-to-day daily life skill.
Okay. And why is it that versatile with all the different job roles that are out there
So
along with that?
as I told, Python is the most powerful programming language. So for each, when Python was being developed, for each of the job roles, they thought that let's build something of Python. And Python community, like the Python developers, is an open community. Like if you want to commit something there, and if as a candidate, when you be an expert developer, suppose you think that this part is missing in Python and you want to develop and enter it into the Python's codec language, you can go on and commit to it. Being a Python developer, you don't need permission from anyone. So in that way, Python keeps developing every second. Every few minutes, new things are getting added to libraries, new features are getting added to libraries.
Okay. And so how can someone access these updates? Are they updated in the ID that you're working on automatically,
So
or
no,
we have to download libraries?
they already when we are updating the libraries, they already get downloaded automatically. They get updated automatically, so they don't have to worry about them.
And like all the you mentioned a lot of libraries and these five the ones that you think that according to you are the most powerful as well. So
Yes.
are these library already loaded, or we have to download them
Yes,
from
when we
somewhere and
download
it's
Jupyter
free?
Notebook, then these
Okay.
libraries, not only these libraries, many of thousands of libraries are already pre-installed.
Okay. Guys, okay, Lucky, you would like to ask about session, it would be weekend. I think I'm not really understanding what your question is, but yeah, please put it, maybe elaborate a little bit in the comment section so that we can pick it up. Guys, I see that you guys have not rated us out of five, sadly. So please do rate us out of five on the basis of how your experience has been for the entire session that whether you have enjoyed it or not. Rate us out of five, five being the highest, and anything lower than that, you guys can also like maybe comment. If it's four, also please do mention the reason so that we can improve in the future as well. Because again, whatever shortcomings that are there, we want to be improving them as we go in the future. With that said, we are almost at the end of this session, guys. Again, if you guys have any questions, you guys can ask us at contact at the rate k21academy.com as well. So okay, sorry, what happened? So yeah, you guys can definitely ask us at contact at the rate K21 Academy as well. Okay, I guess you were asking about question. My team have answered that. And if you are interested, again, this is the link to waitlist. You have to go ahead and join it right now. This is one of the most important ones that you have to be join this waitlist if you're interested in Python, because it's gonna be that turning point in your learning journey where a lot of things start happening for you in terms of Python as well. So make sure you go register at the link that is mentioned on the screen as well, so that whatever we are coming up in the future in terms of any learning material that are blogs, sample Q&As, interview questions, sample programs, free live sessions, maybe the new course that we're launching, the starting out dates, everything you get them on your email without just searching for it. You'll get it on your email via email from us. A lot of free stuff as well. So I mean, it is a must have, I think, especially when you're getting a lot of stuff for free. It is definitely beneficial for you guys to be going ahead and doing that. With that said, thank you very much, sir. Any last pieces of wisdom or advice that you would like to leave our audience members with?
Yeah, a very wise piece of advice is, so I just tell from my own experience. So when I started learning Python, I felt that it was very hard, but with the discipline I learned Python, I was able to grasp Python in just a matter of 1.5 months. So if I can do it so many years back, and many of my candidates have done it, so you also can do it. So there is nothing as impossible. Okay, so Python is very interesting, very easy to learn. You should go ahead and enroll for this course. That's it. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you, everybody, again for joining in. And I'll see you guys again in the next session. Probably it's on Thursday. I'll meet you guys over there. Thank you very much again.